Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're new and just tuning in, stick around because we have some awesome tips coming your way. So for those of you that don't know, this is Bill Mitchell. He's my grandfather, and he's been in real estate, home building, marketing, sales, coaching, training for 60 years.
Yes.
For 60 years. So he is the trainer of trainers. So we have him with us today to talk a little bit about real estate and to give some of his inside tips on how to be a great real estate agent, whether you're just starting out or have been in the business for a long time. These are Bill's 10 tips that are just going to take you and your business to the next level. So we have him with us today to give us a little sneak peek into his exclusive tips. So we're going to start off with the first two. So what are your first two main tips for real estate agents?
Well, number one, I would say that when a real estate agent decides to get into selling real estate, you're really entering the entrepreneurial business. You didn't decide to get a job. You decided to become a business person because it's unlike a typical job. Any entrepreneur will tell you that running a business is much different than having a job. And so it's important to understand that selling is really an isolated position that's dependent on you and your actions. And it's much like an entrepreneurial function. You've got to make a lot of decisions you didn't make before.
Interesting. So that's getting us into a great mindset of what we need to be in as real estate agents. So what are your two, he has a list of 10 that he can share with you today, but we're going to go ahead with the first two just to give you a little sneak peek of what he has to offer. So what would be your first tip?
Well, any entrepreneur knows, and in any business that any of you have been involved in, you understand probably the most critical thing you can do is develop a business plan. A business plan that's specific, it's detailed, it lays out what it is that you're going to do, what assumptions you're making about the market. When I decided to go into the home building business, it was pre-computer. And in my dining room, my partner and I had 22 feet of paper stretched out with our business plan, when we were going to start, when we were going to hire, who we were going to hire, how much money we needed, when would we need the money. Well, in real estate, it's not that much different. When you decide to go in business for yourself, you've got some expenses. And you're going to make certain assumptions, okay? You're going to assume that the economy is a certain way. You're going to assume that employment is a certain way, that finance is and the benefit of a business plan, and I can't overstate it, is that it's a living document. And when interest rates go up or go down, it changes the market. And the question is, will you be ready to take advantage of those changes before your competition? So a business plan for an entrepreneur is critical.
And I think to that point, not only just having one business plan, like you said, it's a living document. So going back and checking up on your business plan, making adjustments to your business plan as well.
Absolutely necessary. And too many business plans gather dust. And don't do a business plan. If you're going to shoot from the hip, just shoot from the hip. But if you want to have a predictable, profitable business, and that's the key, a predictable, profitable business.
And that sounds good to
me. You need a
me.
business plan.
I want a predictable and profitable business.
Me too.
So that's your first tip, your business plan. Now what would be your second tip?
Well, I think once you got your plan together, now you need to put together a schedule of how you're going to execute it.
You talk about schedule a lot.
I talk about schedules a lot because when you have a job, somebody sets your schedule for you. You know what time they want you at work, what time lunch hour is, what time you get off. You're not worried about buying paper for the printer. You're not. There are so many things that you're not worried about.
So many little details.
Yeah, and your time is restricted when you work for somebody. They tell you 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever it might be, and that makes it very difficult for someone that's been structured. I thought back. I had lunch with a guy today, and we were talking about my experience in the military. when I got out of the military, when I went into the military, I was 18 and I was drafted. I thought I knew everything. I found out quickly I didn't. And they took you and broke you down the first couple of days, literally, so they could build you back up. 2 years later, when I got out, my life had been so structured, I was lost for about 6 months, trying to figure out. I had to figure out when I was going to get up. I had to figure out when I was going to have meals. I had to figure out where I was going to get money from. And so when you take a job as a real estate agent, it's kind of like that. You now step out of the corporate environment and you become an entrepreneur with a business plan, and that schedule's critical. And I just want you to remember this. It's always important, and I tell every person I talk to that gets their license and comes to me and says, could you help me get started? And I say, just one thing. You've got to accept that it's the highest paid hard work and the lowest paid easy work known to humanity. It pays extremely well if you work hard, but it doesn't pay so well if you don't.
So what's one thing that I could implement today with a schedule? Is that like breaking down my time, following my business plan, or is it knowing what I need to get done that day?
Well, I think that when you lay out a business plan, you understand the timing of where things need to be. Okay. When you lay out your schedule, it's a matter of how you're going to execute that plan.
Awesome.
So you sit down. There will be plans. For example, just as an early thought process, how many weeks a year are you going to work? How many days a week are you going to work? When you take a day off that you didn't plan, that's one day you're not going to get paid for anything. So it's important to understand that this is a job that requires great dedication and commitment to doing the things you need to do. I coach some very, very successful people, and I'll tell you, I coached some people that weren't very successful. Because as a coach, you can advise, but you can't be there every day to see what they're doing. But I knew very quickly the ones that were doing what they needed to do per their schedule and the ones that weren't.
Great. Awesome. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So just to review your Bill's tips, the first 3 that you're going to get in this 10-point document that we can send you. First of all, your mindset, that you are now an entrepreneur.
You're in business for yourself. You're an entrepreneur, and you got to make all the decisions.
Great.
And you know what? It gets really tough when you have to make that decision. When someone else is making it for you. I mean, that doesn't mean you don't have to make decisions when you're an employee, but it's different for an entrepreneur.
Awesome. Create a business plan and refer back to your business plan. Change your business plan as the market and your business grows.
Correct.
And 3, have a schedule.
Yeah, and that's the challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a challenge. It's a wonderful business, but it takes commitment. It takes dedication. And the ones that do it gain the rewards.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And if you would like to receive Bill's other 8 exclusive tips, we're going to include a link up above in the comments, and you can gain access to Bill's 10 exclusive tips that all real estate agents should know. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for
Thank you. I enjoyed
all
it.
you had to share.
Hope it helps.
It helps me. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon.